Hello, welcome once again to Lehto's Law. I'm Steve Lehto. Got another story for you from England. And so, as I did last time, I will translate this into English so my audience can understand it. And I guess I should explain that. I'm joking when I say that. I actually had someone get very, very upset with me the other day when I said that I was going to translate a story from England into English so my American viewers could understand it. I was making a joke more about how there's differences in our language. And I had somebody go, Steve, in England, they speak English, I think. So, sorry to do the dumb guy voice for you, but Mercedes has sparked a privacy row by admitting it spies on drivers with tracking devices covertly installed in its cars. And a row means a ruckus or a brouhaha. Yes, I'm translating directly from English into hillbilly speak, okay? So this is a big story, and a lot of people have covered this. I got the story here from The Sun. Jalopnik covered it, and I got about 20 people who sent it to me, and I appreciate all of you for doing that. Thank you very much. But the secret sensors are fitted to all new and used motors, those are cars, sold by the firm's dealers, and they pinpoint the vehicle's exact location. Now, this is bizarre because obviously this technology is not that big of a stretch. It's just a question of how they use it. I mean, I know for a fact that right now my Ford Explorer is sitting in the garage and it's thinking about me. Okay, and Lord knows what it's talking to Ford about behind my back. I don't know. I mean, I have an app. I can check in on my vehicle wherever it is, and I can look and see, oh, there's where it is, and there's how much tire pressure I have in each corner. So if I can do that with my handheld phone, I assume other people can do it, right? And so the technology's been here for a little while. And we already know about how our privacy has been destroyed by things on the internet and connected devices and all that stuff. But here's what's going on is that Mercedes, at least in England, when they lease you a vehicle, they will then have the capability, if necessary, to later flip a switch, find out where the vehicle is located, pass that information along to the authorities, for instance, if they need to repossess the vehicle, and then go get the vehicle from you. And they're doing this by extracting information that most people would consider to be private, but there's a loophole as to how they're getting away with it. So we'll talk about all of this. The firm sold more than 170,000 new cars in Britain alone last year. Mercedes will not say how long it's been using these devices and insists they're only used in extreme circumstances, and that would be when finance customers have defaulted on their payments. I did not know that Mercedes-Benz had clients or customers who defaulted on their payments. I assumed that people who bought expensive cars could afford them. Huh. Mercedes-Benz admits sharing car owner information and vehicle details with third-party bailiffs and recovery firms who repossess cars. Drivers who buy a Mercedes through a finance plan do give their permission for the vehicle to be tracked when signing lengthy terms and conditions. And this gets us back to, you signed a document with 1,000, things in it. Did you read and understand all of them? And apparently, and I don't blame anybody for this, but nobody catches the fact they've added a new term and says, oh, by the way, we now have the ability to remotely track your vehicle, and we will occasionally do so if we think we need to enforce this contract. How long has the language been there? It hasn't always been there, has it? Obviously not. Ex-Cabinet Minister David Davis today called for the government to investigate. He said, "This is not the first time big business has behaved like Big Brother, but it's rare to be quite as deceitful as this." Now, the question is he referring to Big Brother, the book by George Orwell, or Big Brother, the TV show? Because I hear that's quite popular in England. I have to question whether it's even legal to pass on information to other people, such as bailiffs. I would think the relevant minister ought to look very closely at the legality of this procedure. I don't know much about British government other than the Minister of Silly Walks. I don't know if that'd be his department or not. Ex-Cabinet Minister David Davis calls out Mercedes for behaving like Big Brother, is one of the headlines. Human rights group Liberty said Mercedes' actions were disturbing and part of the creeping growth of surveillance. Legal experts also raised concerns. Stefano Ruiz, civil law partner at Hickman and Rose Solicitors, said this appears to be another worrying development in the way companies handle what should be private personal data. Modern technology means our ability to keep personal information private is under threat like never before. Organizations that handle personal data need to be completely upfront about what they are doing. That Mercedes appear not to have been so in this case is concerning. its customers may start to worry about what other personal information the company may be gathering and then passing that on. It's a shocking revelation and definitely gives a creepy, uneasy feeling knowing that somebody somewhere can track me down at the touch of a button. Mercedes rivals include BMW, Jaguar, Land Rover, and Volkswagen, having all said that they do not carry out similar tracking. And yes, I pronounced Jaguar that way in honor of the people in England. This fight will again raise questions about how huge corporations handle our privacy and our data, or our privacy and our data. Last month, a Sun investigation revealed that Amazon staff can listen to Alexa recordings of British couples fighting, discussing private family matters, and even engaging in the marital acts. I changed the word there. But of course, they could be fighting and discussing private family matters while engaged in those acts. Mercedes dominates the used car leasing market with an estimated 80% of their new vehicles sold on finance plans. The secret sensor technology is not linked to either anti-theft tracker devices or the online Mercedes Me services sold as optional extras by dealers. Tracking a vehicle without its driver's knowledge is illegal under EU data protection plans. But again, the question is it illegal if the person who bought or leased the vehicle signed a thing saying, yeah, I agree to this? Mercedes customers who buy cars through the official financial arm give their permission when signing lengthy terms and conditions, which often go unread. Mercedes says a clause about location sensors is in bold print just above the customer's signature on the finance contract. But Andrew Bridgen, who's a member of parliament, said Mercedes should specifically tell customers about what the technology does. Interesting point. If Mercedes wishes to install the privacy-surrendering tech in their cars, that's fine, but surely they have a duty to explicitly tell their customers beforehand and not hide it away in the terms and conditions. And yes, stop calling him Shirley. Carl Edwards from Portsmouth said he was stunned to learn about the tracker on his C200 AMG, he said. It's a shocking revelation and definitely gives a creepy, uneasy feeling knowing somebody somewhere can track me down at the touch of a button. I'm pretty sure that was an Eagles song. Creepy, uneasy feeling. One of their lesser-known hits. Mercedes-Benz said, when a customer chooses to finance the purchase of a car this way, they sign a contract and agree to the location sensors in the car being activated in the event that they default or breach on the agreement. This clause in the finance contract is in bold print, just above their signature. Locating the car is part of the repossession process and is not permanently tracking customers. It is only activated in exceptional circumstances where the customer has breached their finance agreement and repeatedly failed to reply to requests to contact us. So, I guess on most levels, many of us would agree and say this makes sense that if you buy a car and you stop making payments on it, the lender who has rights to repossess the collateral should be allowed to come and repossess the collateral. And if the technology now exists to locate the collateral using stuff that's already on board the vehicle, why not use that equipment? And if we have the customer sign a document saying, I agree you might do this, then they've been notified. Well, that's kind of where it falls apart, I think, for most people. I think that it's one of those things that most people get kind of skeeved out by, which is an Americanism. Knowing that this could happen and they hadn't thought about it before. They find out, they go, well, wait, they can do that? But I think as more and more of these intrusions happen in our lives, we get used to them. But I also think that, maybe a slightly better disclosure. And I'm sure you've seen that before, either at the closing of a house or the purchasing of a car. You're signing a whole stack of documents, and the loan agreement or the lease agreement, I'm doing this right here to indicate how long it is often a long, lengthy piece of paper with printing on both sides, tiny, tiny little print, some in bold, some not in bold. You sign here, initial here, sign here, initial here. Perhaps they should have one document that they simply hand to you and say, by the way, this is our privacy invasion disclosure to let you know if you default on the loan, you're consenting to let us flip a switch and locate the car. And maybe if it's very, very well laid out like that, it wouldn't be quite as intrusive, I guess. But again, like I said, people are very upset by this. And it's one of those things where, you know that when it first got revealed, it was going to tick off some people. But as more people learn about it, I think more people are going to understand that it makes sense. And on some level, yeah, the technology's there. They should be able to do it. It's just a matter of letting you know that they can do it so that you can know going in what all of the rights and remedies are to both parties. And if I said, this is buried inside a document that's got like 10,000 words on each side, and there's 2 sentences about this, perhaps bring it out to the attention of the person signing the document a little more so. But we'll see how it shakes out. But the fact that Mercedes is doing it now in England simply means that 3 years from now, everyone will be doing it everywhere. Okay? So that's how these things go, and that's how technology progresses, my friends. So there you have it. In England, Mercedes-Benz is tracking down people who've leased their cars and defaulted on the leases using technology in the cars that causes many people to raise privacy concerns. Questions or comments, put them below. Otherwise, talk to you later. Bye-bye.